Welcome back and thank you for joining the Serving My Master podcast as we continue going through the first commandments given to us on Har Sinai after clarifying that as a servant one must always remember the loyalty and faithfulness that we are obligated to have to the master of the world, and understanding that we have to always make sure that we do not allow ourselves to be in the way of that service. The Torah continues to tell us not to make any image, not to create any type of image that might pull us towards Avodah Zarah, towards serving anything other than the master of the world. Of course, reminding us again how naturally a human being would choose to try and serve any other ideal, to try and serve any other selfish goal, to try and serve anything but the master of the world. And reminding us of how we must be so careful in not even creating something that might end up leading us away and diverting us from pure service to the master of the world. Followed up by not to go worship Avodah Zarah, not to go and commit idolatry, not to bow down before an Avodah Zarah. Telling us how again and again one must be careful to make sure that our entire lives are focused on remembering, serve the master and no one else. And showing us how indeed if someone serves anything but the master of the world, if someone acts in a manner that is not purely in service of the master of the world, how that clearly diverts to an idea of adultery, to an idea of worshiping an Avodah Zarah completely. Rahman litzlan. The idea given to us in the first 4 commandments, shown to us and trying to give us an idea that we should appreciate the importance of again and again reminding ourselves and trying to again and again re-strengthen the ideas of service. Because naturally, as the humans we are, as discussed in the previous season, we will naturally try to pull away, try to create our own goals, our own human masters, our own ideals that we will use as masters and enslave our days and our actions and our brain towards those ideas. And the Torah, the secret guide given to us, the gift given to us in Har Sinai, telling us, begging us, remember, don't allow yourself to create any ideal. Don't allow yourself to create any image. Don't allow yourself to bow down to anything, even temporarily, because it will lead you away from service. It will lead you away from the path that can bring you to fulfill your mission in this world. It will lead you away from the clarity that one can reach when one understands that all we're here to do is be a servant. And of course, it will lead us away from understanding that when one thinks purely about service and nothing else, every challenge, every doubt goes away. When one understands that the only question that should be in the focus of our mind, in the forefront of our eyes is, what am I supposed to do as a servant? When one understands that this is a question that can answer any challenge, any doubt at any given moment, then of course the only thing they look forward to is another detail, another commandment, another obligation or restriction given to us as a gift in the secret guide called Torah's Moshe. Because of course, when one remembers that question in the forefront of their mind, What am I supposed to do as a servant? They will always be able to answer any challenge. Because indeed, even if they come and reach a moment where they tell themselves with clarity that both options, I have a question, option A and option B, and both seem to be in service of the master of the world, still, they will find salvation. They will find peace and understanding. That if indeed both have purely an outcome of service to the master of the world, then indeed right now, in this moment, my service as a servant to the master of the world is to not know with which option to go. The first 4 commandments in the Torah teach us that in any given moment, we have to constantly remind ourselves and be careful not to allow anything in this world to pull us away from that clarity, from that purity of service, from that understanding that every single thing, every single question, every single word, every single statement, every single physical move in this world needs to be in service of the master of the world. And if it is not, it needs to be returned. It needs to be turned away. It needs to be challenged. And that is what leads us in to the next commandment. The commandment of telling us that with a gift that we were given called Shabbos, one day of the week, that Hashem is giving us a taste of what it means to reach a higher level of service. Of when Hashem is giving us a taste, showing us, as we discussed in our previous episode, how every move is something that not only is in service, but will be rewarded. Something that disconnects us from the shallowness of this world. And how does the Torah represent that? How does the Torah present us with the importance of that day? By telling us immediately that what we need to do is Zachay v'Shamay. What we need to do is make Kiddush. We need to utter out the words of our mouth saying, why are we starting this Shabbos? Not because there is a human understanding, not because there is a human wish for rest, but because the Torah is telling us to do so. We are obligated to do so. And with that, that's what makes us servants. We don't do things because we want to or because we understand them. We do things because we are told to do so. And we do so happily because we know that that is the secret path to reach and to fulfill our mission in this world. Kiddush on Shabbos is not just something that tells us this is another thing you do. Kiddush on Shabbos is making the statement, I'm resting because this is an obligation. I'm willing and I want to go into a day full of restrictions and obligations, which will guide me, which will be a beacon of light for the next week, showing me and reminding me how every move in my life is dependent on service. How every action that I do, every word that I say needs to be in service of the master of the world. And that is what Shabbos is all about. Showing us that every detail is in service of the master of the world. And of course, that is why it was called the Matana Toiva Genuza, the hidden gift that Hashem gave to Klal Yisrael. A gift that despite the shallow world we live in, shines a bright light on our lives, showing us how every detail in our life needs to be of service and indeed fulfills the purpose of the world, the purpose of creation itself, which is indeed why creation culminated and was completed at the beginning of Shabbos. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to continue this discussion with you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.